Hello, everybody. This is Megan,
And this is Lana.
and welcome to Tea Time Crimes.
Welcome.
No Halloween edition. What up? How you doing?
It's just fall edition. Just all the crunchy leaves.
Just an autumnal podcast.
Exactly. Just the best vibes. Nice and cozy.
You got any updates for us today? Any banter for the people to hate on? I've got a lot of updates, so
Okay, go ahead.
poise your finger over fast forward. Big update is that I found the last foster kitty a home.
Yay!
Obsidian
Thank
is going
goodness.
to a good home. I know. Did I already explain how I found him a home? That I bought a clear backpack. Anyway, it worked. He
It worked,
was
baby.
perfectly behaved and cute and his sweet little self, and he got a home, and I dropped him off yesterday.
Ugh, just amazing.
I know.
So happy.
And we're keeping the last one.
Yay!
So that'll be
And
fun.
you have your 3 cats, your perfection.
Yeah.
That's what you need.
I need the trifecta of cats. We have named him now.
Oh.
Yeah. So, okay, I forgot this. I don't know if I said this again on the podcast or just to you, but do you remember a few months ago I had a dream that I had a black cat and I named him Benjamin Franklin? Do you remember? And I said to Brad, I said, I don't know what to tell you, but that was my dream and it was very real. And so if a black cat enters my hemisphere,
oh my God.
I'm going to have to name him Benjamin Franklin. Well, we came up with names and we put them out. We came up with 4 names that we all liked and we laid them out and we told Kitty Cat to pick his. And he picked Benji after Benjamin Franklin.
Yes.
So, inventor of electricity. There you go.
Yes.
He's here.
That's a great name.
Benji.
I'm
It's
a
cute.
really big fan of Benji.
Thank you.
I named a hawk named Benji at my college, and I just say hi to him a lot.
Is he a real hawk or
Yeah.
is he still alive?
I don't know. I haven't visited for a while.
I'm sorry. Was he in a cage or is this just an animal that you encountered in the wild that
No.
you called Benji?
Or
is there a plaque where it's like Benji, the mascot of the college? I need to understand a little.
No.
I need to unpack this a little bit.
No, but I would always see him like going to and from classes. He would like hang out in a tree
In the sky.
Sure,
Like he's a
like
wild
tree.
hawk.
Yeah. On
Okay.
like a chapel thing.
For a second, I thought you named the mascot for the school and he was in a cage and he flew around at football games. I didn't know.
No.
Okay, well.
But Benji is a great name.
Thanks. So that's all that matters.
Okay, congrats to Benji. You got a name.
Benjamin Franklin is...
Is that what you're going to call him when you get mad?
Yeah.
You need to give him a middle name, too.
Well, I think it'd be Benjamin Franklin Frank, right?
Yeah, that's fair. That's perfect.
Nice,
oh my God, that's just perfect.
Perfect absurdity. It's a name you couldn't give a human, but you could give it to a cat. So
Correct.
Benji, he goes to the vet on Tuesday.
Oh boy, get his knackers off or what?
No, he's already
okay.
Denackered, if you will. He just gets a checkup, so then I can start introducing him to the other cats.
Yay!
Sophie's going to probably need a lot of emotional support and may move out.
Yeah, she's going to be on strike.
She might pack her bags and say that's it.
Yeah, but then she won't be able to find the door and then she'll forget. And then she'll go back upstairs and the cycle will just repeat.
She'll
get mad all over again.
Why am I mad again?
Oh, yeah.
So that's the biggest update.
So exciting. Congrats.
And another little tidbit for you. You know, we do a family costume every year, but we also have to do a school costume for my son. Do you want to tell everybody what he picked?
Well, let's just say he was partnered with our intern Slappy.
Yeah, he dressed up as our intern Slappy and he nailed it.
He really did. It was terrifying.
It was perfectly terrifying.
Did not enjoy that video. Ugh. It was scary. It was really scary.
So if the Reverend and the Reprobate still listen, that Slappy prank you pulled is still going strong.
It's still going.
I mean,
very strong.
2 years into this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
So
now he's
disturbing.
Slappy for Halloween. And he has the Goosebumps book because you have to dress up as they don't call it Halloween. They call it Literary Character Day or something. You have to dress up like your favorite book character.
Okay.
So,
Amazing.
favorite book character wasn't, Shakespearean play. It was Slappy from Goosebumps. And yeah, I drew on the freckles.
Oh, it was perfect. It was
I
perfect.
drew on the lines.
It
It's a
was
good time.
way too good.
Yeah, and seeing your absolute horror and revulsion was worth it.
Yeah, true horror.
All right. I'm a little fast and loose today. I just finished the research for this one this morning.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so
Love a little fast and loose.
we're flying by the seat of our pants. Yeah. Why don't you dip us into that tea?
Okay. I might have made a mistake.
Oh, my favorite.
They had a little market in town yesterday. And there's like sellers selling all stuff, art, stuff, crafts.
You delivered
tea.
that line. So great. Seller selling all stuff, art.
It's this really cool place called Luna Moth Herbs Farm and Apothecary. And I think I picked up something that's not really supposed to be a tea. And it's mostly supposed to be like for cooking. I can't really pronounce it. It's called Schisandra. And it looks like either dried fruit or dried flowers. I think it's dried flowers.
Here we go, guys. Are we sure that's not potpourri? That's what it looks like.
No, it doesn't smell like it.
How do you know this is even edible?
Because she told me. But I was steeping it, and it's not really steeping. Like, it's not bleeding out at all.
Does it not say tea on the bag? How is this a mystery is what I'm trying to wrap my head around.
Because there was a section that said herbs and tea, and they were mixed together.
Okay. That would lead me to believe that they are both things.
Right. Me too. But
okay.
I'm telling you, the water is not changing color at all.
Okay.
And so I don't think it's steeped. But so what I did was instead of my normal diffuser, I did that, and then I saw it was like still clear and not very anything. So I just poured them in to the water, and now they're just floating in like cranberries. It reminded me of like cranberries, Thanksgiving. We're getting there. No. Anyways.
Okay. So this sounds like you're going to drink water with things floating in it.
Correct.
Perfect. I don't feel like this is the seller at the seller market's fault.
No, it's not. No fault to her.
No.
It does smell like a little citrusy. So let's see.
Oh, that face tells me.
Wow. Wowie, wowie, wow. Getting a lot of bitter. Yeah, getting a lot of bitter. It is kind of like a cranberry sauce with zero body at all. And someone put too much orange and lemon in it.
Did it steep like a tea? Does it taste like a tea? Or is it more like a fruit broth?
It feels more like a water. There's zero body. Like there's less body than normal. I probably shouldn't have put them in there. I feel like I can't really grade it properly because I feel like you're probably cooking with this stuff.
What is it even for, do we think? What kind of herb would need that many citrusy flavors?
Maybe like for baking?
But what would you put it in?
An like a crumble, a crisp, a berry
crisp. Are there
crisp?
No directions on there?
No.
Is it not just edibles and you're about to get high as a kite?
I mean, that'd be great, but I don't think so.
We'll find out in 20 minutes, guys. Stay tuned. You just wandered into the medicinal marijuana section and had no idea.
Oh my God, amazing. It's actually all legal here, so.
I know, that's what I'm thinking. You're in New England, so.
Yeah.
Very possible.
What's a fair rating to give this? It's like a bitter cranberry sauce sideways thumbs.
Okay. My rating, that makes no sense to no one. Drink at your own risk.
Cheers.
All right. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. We're back to just regular old stuff. No ghosts.
Just the two of us. No ghosty woasties here. Sorry.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. Rhonda Belle.
Rhonda.
That's her first name, like Donna Sue. Rhonda Belle.
Oh.
Yeah. I assume she's Southern. I should know because I know where she lives. Yep, she is. Rhonda Belle was born in 1907 at a time when Alana's BFF, Teddy Roosevelt, was in office.
Oh, Teddy.
I know, Teddy. And the Chicago Cubs won their first World Series. They would win the following year and then not again until 2016.
Yeah. That's
So,
crazy.
I know, yeah. A long-distance swimmer was arrested in Boston for swimming without a skirt.
Get
She
it?
had on a one-piece.
Hell yeah.
just a one piece, and that was very upsetting to the crowds. Yeah.
Wait a few years.
The electric washing machine and paper towels were invented. Jung and Freud met for the first time.
Oh, shit.
A true meeting of the minds. So psychology is being born.
Yeah.
Big things are coming. Maybe not in time for this case, but Typhoid Mary is found and traced back. Can you imagine being Typhoid Mary?
Like, oh, sorry.
Sorry, super sorry. Did not realize.
Whoops.
I mean, she wouldn't have realized.
No.
Anyway, Houdini does his famous underwater locked in a cage magic trick that we all still know about.
Mm-hmm.
And UPS is invented.
UPS!
Alana and I have a special place in our hearts for UPS because when we worked together, we worked on Hollywood Boulevard on the Star Walkway. Yeah. And you would have to buzz this tiny little mystery door on the street. And
it
then
used to be a sex shop, the office was.
It did? Nobody told me that. Ew.
You didn't know that? Yeah.
No, I thought it was a theater production place.
Well, that's one.
Golly, it's a good thing you guys kept that from me. I wouldn't have survived. Anyway, you would buzz the door, they'd let you in, and there was a staircase that went up to the main office. This UPS woman, I love her. We would all be working pretty quietly. And there's an elevator in the back. She never used it. She always came in the front, and she would take the dolly and go up this flight of stairs. Dish, 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 dish. So you knew she was coming. And you'd hear her go, what would she say?
UPS!
As loud as possible while having music attached to her hip without headphones. So it was always blaring a new tune.
God, I love her.
I love her so much. And she would bust into this corporate environment where everyone has headphones on and they're sitting at their desk like they're the most important person in the world, typing furiously. And whoever was closest to the door, she'd ask them to sign for it. And sometimes it was me, but there were still 4 people in front of me. And I would happily sign. But lady, I would love to have lunch and sign your package notes.
Gosh.
But I loved when it was a new person.
And they would panic.
Then they would panic because this woman came in, I mean, with like...
hot.
Just very hot, like a boombox atmosphere, and she'd be like, "Yo,
that is exactly the energy. It's boombox energy."
So it was so good, and they would always be frightened and confused. And I'd be like, "Just sign for the package. You're witnessing an amazing human."
What do you think she's up to now? I just wish the best.
I hope she's just a C level at UPS.
Yes,
maybe she's been promoted just continuously. Yeah. I'm a big fan. She got the job done, and she did it with such an energy, you know?
I mean, we're still talking about it, 7 years later?
We still randomly scream UPS to each other.
I saw, when we were going out for Halloween a little bit ago, I saw someone dressed as a UPS driver, and I screamed UPS at them.
Yeah, again, nobody knows about us, but when I saw UPS was invented in 1907, I was like, well, that's it. This is the story for me. I think we're done here. I don't even think I need to cover anymore. That was all it was. Anyway, sorry, we're talking about Rhonda Belle. She was born in Mississippi, so definitely
Mississippi.
Southern. And Rhonda moved as a young child to Alabama. So even though she was born in Mississippi, she was raised in Alabama. And when she was only 12 years old, her father walked away from the family.
Okay.
Leaving her mother to raise Rhonda on her own.
Oh.
To make ends meet, Rhonda's mother, Mary Frances, started taking in boarders. Yikes. Uh-oh.
Guys, don't do this. It doesn't end well for somebody.
Never. At age 15, Rhonda started dating one of these boarders.
No.
His age was not listed, but I'm willing to bet he wasn't 15.
Yeah, fuck.
Yeah. I think best case scenario, he's 20. Right?
I know.
But he could have been 40. They didn't say. I have no idea.
Stop.
She was married by 16 and divorced at 19.
Okay.
So she's back living with her mother, but now she needs to support herself. Rhonda started working as a waitress, and she was really good at it. She was likable. She was smart. She got good tips. She remembered everybody's order. Chatty Cathy. Good times. And it wasn't long before Rhonda would be married a second and then a third time.
Whoa.
Yeah. First she was a widow and then a second time divorcee. And it wasn't until 1949 that Rhonda had found work at a plant where she met her husband, number 4, Claude Martin. And here's where our story begins. Okay. Claude was a widow. His wife and the mother of his 4 children had died tragically in a car accident.
Oh, God.
At the time he met Rhonda, his 3 daughters and son, they were full grown. But his daughters still lived at home. Even though they were adults, they were still young adults.
Okay.
like 18,
Mhm.
that kind of age range. And his son was in the Navy. But Claude's daughters were super excited that their dad was getting remarried. They
Oh,
really
good.
liked Rhonda. They welcomed her into the family, into their home. And they were very grateful that she was there when Claude became ill
Oh,
because
no.
Rhonda was very attentive to him. She had doctors make house calls. She would sit up with him. It was hard for the daughters to do that. It's hard to take care of a parent. She kind of took the brunt of this and then had the doctors come in so that he didn't have to spend any time in a facility. He didn't have to spend any time
Wow.
in a hospital. But despite Rhonda's constant care and attention, Claude just did not get better. He became completely bedridden, and the doctors had run out of treatments or options. And sadly, Claude passed away April 27th, 1951. Rhonda had Claude buried in her family's plot, but then she paid extra to move his first wife to be reburied next to him because she thought that's what Claude would have wanted. Which is an interesting. I don't know if that's a
Why
very
not
nice thing or a very weird
just
thing.
Why not just bury him with the wife?
That's what I'm saying. I'm not sure. So without Claude, Rhonda went back to what she knew to support herself. She started a waitressing job at the Sea Breeze restaurant. And it wasn't long after Claude's death that Rhonda started dating again.
Oh, boy.
And this relationship was quite the talk around town because Rhonda's new beau was several years younger. I've seen they don't stick to an age. I've seen 15 to 20 years younger than the 44-year-old
Whoa.
waitress. But he was also a familiar face around town because he was her stepson.
No!
Yeah, get ready. Here we go.
Oh, God.
Yeah, hold on to your cranberry bits. Up until this point, Claude's daughters had really liked Rhonda. But this
Oh.
really turned things quick. They felt it was a slap in the face to their father's memory. He'd just recently died. And quite frankly, ew. They thought it was gross.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was also technically against the law for a step-parent to marry a stepchild no matter their age. But
Okay, that's a good law.
in Alabama. But that didn't stop these two who were married after dating for 4 months and less than a year after Claude's death. Yeah. The first several years of their marriage were long distance because Ronald was still in the Navy and deployed for most of that time. It wasn't until 1954 that the couple were really actually living together full time. Rhonda seemed to be the main breadwinner too for a bit, still working at the restaurant. But Ronald started looking for a job and I believe he became employed at a factory.
Okay.
Yes, factory worker at a paper mill. I wrote it down. Unbelievable.
Wow.
I know. It's
5
amazing what
stars.
notes can do. Yeah. But in 1955, Ronald became suddenly ill and had to spend a few days in the hospital. He's young. He's in his 20s. He bounced back and he returned home. But after he was home for a few days, the illness returned.
Oh, here we go.
And then he became unable to walk. Rhonda transported him to the Veterans Hospital, where he stayed for almost a year.
Whoa.
The hospital wasn't even in the same city that the couple lived in, so Rhonda would go visit him several times a week to check in on him. Despite his long stay in the hospital, doctors were unsure what was causing Ronald's illness.
I have a clue.
Not only did he not regain use of his legs, but as he was there, it progressed. His hands started to go numb as well. So first, when they get Ronald in the door, they check for polio. That's the time we're in. Negative.
I mean, yeah, think about it. We have FDR.
They tried different medications and different specialists, neurologists, rheumatologists, you name it, nothing. The doctors started asking questions about Ronald's life. They're really trying to pinpoint an environmental or genetic component.
Sure.
And it's in this questioning that doctors decided to send hair samples out to the lab.
Drug tests.
Ronald was sick due to
opium, arsenic
poisoning.
Boom. Also, did he serve in World War II, do you think?
I know. Dang it. I didn't look up the war dates in his service record. I mean, when will I learn that the only thing that matters on this true crime podcast is what wars were happening remotely close to the incident?
I mean,
I don't know where he served. He was in the Navy and he was deployed, so.
Okay, so quite possibly.
But he was also pretty young.
I know, but 1949 is very close to 1944.
Very close. So maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway.
Arsenic.
Worried that Rhonda was to blame because she's there.
Because she is to blame.
Yeah. Since she was the most frequent visitor, doctors immediately contacted police with their findings.
Good.
The questions they had asked were printed in part of the Sun Herald, and it led to a very clear path. Ronald stated that he was Rhonda's 6th husband, although records show that he was actually her 5th. So I don't know why he said 6th. And her most recent husband had been his father, who had died from the same kind of illness. Imagine the doctor hearing that information. He's like, tell me about your home life. It's like, well,
And I go, shit.
My current wife used to be my stepmother, and my dad died from the same thing. You catching any vibes, Doc?
I just can't wait to see his face.
And then Ronald says, oh, and by the way, she had previously had 5 children, but they are also all deceased.
Oh, no. This is a bad one.
Yeah. A preliminary search also showed that the family plot, do you remember where Rhonda had buried her husband/father-in-law, held the remains of her mother, her second husband, and her 5 children.
Oh.
The investigators started with Claude. He was the most recent, Ronald's father.
Did they dig him up?
They secretly had his body exhumed.
Blech.
It, too, was positive for arsenic poisoning.
Here we go.
I know. After a spooky season, I really like to get us back to a TTC classic.
Yeah, it is.
And every time I come across one of these cases, I try to do a little bit more research on it because it's so frequent. And I found an article in Psychology Today by Joni Johnston and an AE Crime Blog interview with her as well.
It's a great name.
She has a PhD, I know. And we know from our cases that arsenic was one of, if not the most popular forms of poison that we've come across here. It was very popular further back in history, usually for an inheritance poisoning.
Yep.
People were always killing their heirs so they could be the next in line. But then it became less popular when a test was created to detect it early in the 1800s. People started using arsenic particularly less. And as toxicology gets better, poison deaths have gone down. But it's still estimated that about 30% of these types of homicides are still not detected at all.
Wow.
So motives were and are often financial in nature for these types of murders. But Johnston gives a full list. It could be jealousy, revenge, a victim being seen as a roadblock. So if this person's gone, I can get this.
Yep.
She lists boredom as one of the things, as well as they like to watch victims suffer. I think Jolly Jane. Yeah, exactly. Or some sort of devout belief, like a political assassin. And remember our female assassins episode?
I sure do.
Yeah, which is a very different vibe.
Yeah.
The thing that's different about the poisoner profile is they show signs of great intelligence because it requires such planning. And I mean, it's a real, you have to, methodical crime. You have to really think it out. But they are paired with this non-confrontational manner because you don't have to even be in the room to watch your victim die. You can detach from the event, which is an interesting piece of it.
That's wild. It's like a little sociopathic stuff.
Yeah. This means that the manipulation is very sneaky and emotional and psychological rather than physical.
That's not how I would do it.
Stabbing somebody or shooting somebody. It's not in your face.
It's not the soft parts.
Yeah. But what they do have in common with other types of killers is the sense that they deserve whatever the reward is going to be from this event, whether that's financial or whether that's getting what they want or whether that's watching somebody in pain, whatever they feel that they deserve. And as we've seen, caregivers and medical professionals make up a much higher rate of these poisoner profiles, but caregivers is very loosely based. It could just be a wife who cares for a husband.
Sure.
Any type of person who's in that kind of role. And that simply could be because they understand chemicals and medication more than the average person, or because they have access to it.
Yeah.
Or it could be vice versa, that they're drawn to those professions because they have this impulse. But obviously, this is so rare. I mean, obviously, medical professionals are amazing. 2%. Keep it up.
Keep it up, y'all.
I'm just saying, of the poisoner group.
Sure.
They're more likely to be in this kind of role. They're probably not, I don't know. What's something they wouldn't be?
Garbage delivery man. Nope. Garbage truck driver.
Delivery man. Garbage is here. This is a reverse program from the city. We're going to deliver garbage to you. Don't worry, no poison in it because not my profile. Enjoy your garbage, ma'am. I like that. That's a good. We should get that on the next round of voting. I'm going to throw that through the city council. The poisoners also tend to be the least suspected because they're usually agreeable and mild-mannered.
Right. And they care so much.
And they
so much
care so
empathy.
much, and everybody likes them, and they would
Yeah.
never in a million years
Yes.
suspect these people. And 90% of the time, they're close to the person they're poisoning. You know, it's a family member or a friend or somebody they're taking care of and devoting their time to, and they're never expected. But here's something interesting that I think we've talked about before that can be taken as a myth. So we always say women are more likely to poison, and that's
Yep.
true. Women pick poison as a weapon more than men, but 60% of convicted murderers who have murdered by poison are actually men.
Because men murder more. So
Because
it's like
men
a
murder more.
stats
Yeah.
game. Okay.
I get Sorry. That's just a stats game. Why don't you get your garbage delivered and then talk to me? So anyway, that's just a little breakdown of maybe what's going on with Rhonda Belle Martin over here. She feels the need to do this for one of those motivations, and she feels entitled to it, and everybody likes her and couldn't believe it. That's why she's gone this long.
Terrifying.
But with this information from Claude's exhumation, they are confident that they can charge Rhonda Belle Martin with the murder of Claude. As she was arrested, Rhonda said, "There's nothing to it." I assume she meant the charges, but they make it seem like, oh, it was easy. It was really easy to do. But I think what she's saying is there's nothing to this. This is a incorrect charge.
It's a farce.
Yeah. And even though they have charged her with Claude's murder, the investigators continue and want to exhume all of the members of Rhonda's family.
Oh, God. I would quit.
I know. Meanwhile, Ronald is fighting for his life. He was able to gain back feeling in his arms and legs, but not in his feet at the time of her arrest. Doctors were focused on building up his muscles because they had gotten so weak.
Yeah. He was there for a year.
I know. It was like 9 months he was in the hospital.
Ugh.
They were hoping to get him walking by using braces.
Okay.
And they said that the recovery and treatment was very similar to what they would do for a polio patient.
Right.
Yeah. And he was devastated when Rhonda confessed. Think about how that must have
I'm
felt.
sure. I mean, it's already sicko, weird shit. Like, mommy wife is trying to kill me. Sorry.
Yeah. He must feel so many things.
Oh, God, this is so disturbing.
I mean, I feel very bad for that man. So being referred to as a redheaded Hellcat, things aren't looking good for Rhonda, even before the results are finalized from the autopsies, because police had done their research on each family member. Trigger warning for children, because Rhonda's 4-year-old daughter, Mary, passed away first in 1934 from pneumonia. Rhonda had told everyone. 3 years later, 3-year-old Emma Jean died suddenly, and Rhonda said it was from a heart attack.
Yeah, because that's so common for 3-year-olds.
For 3-year-olds, yeah. In 1939, 1-year-old Judith died from an unknown illness. After this, Rhonda's second husband, who had lived through the death of 3 of his children, also became ill.
Unbearable. Ugh.
Rhonda told visitors that George had died of pneumonia. Investigators dug further and discovered that in 1940, Rhonda's 7-year-old daughter, Anne Carolyn, died from a, quote, throat disorder. This left only her eldest daughter, 11-year-old Ellen Elizabeth, who died in 1943 from another unexplained but long-suffering illness.
Oh, God.
That Rhonda said was a stomach disorder.
Rhonda's a sick fuck.
And the deaths weren't done here. In 1944, after a year-long illness, Mary Frances, Rhonda's mother, who had just buried all of her grandchildren, passed away. You can see where investigators are coming from. This is actually unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's not the 1500s, so short
this is
of
horrific.
A terrible accident, people aren't losing family members like this.
No.
Right?
Yeah,
There's no plague.
That's exactly right. Like, it's not the 1800s, even.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not, unless there's one horrible accident like a house fire or something, there's no plague that happened. This shouldn't be happening stretched out over this amount of time. Especially not for those who have had 2 husbands testing positive for arsenic poisoning, right?
Yeah.
We got Ronald and Claude.
Not looking good.
Yeah. When the exhumations began, officials only exhumed the graves of George Garrett, which is husband number 2, the eldest daughter, And without giving a reason, they did not disturb the graves of the other 4 girls or Rhonda's mother at that time. I don't know if they eventually did or if they felt like they didn't need to and they wanted to be as respectful as possible, or if it might have cost money and they were trying to.
Okay.
See, I'm not sure what the reasoning was.
We don't know.
These happened on a Monday. The exhumations did. By the 15th of March, Rhonda had waived a grand jury hearing and confessed to giving ant poison to Emma Jean, age 3, and Carolyn, age 7, and Ellen, age 11, and her mother, Mary Frances.
But why?
She gave each of the victims the poison in milk. She also confessed to feeding George the same poison in either his whiskey or his coffee. If you count right, that's not all the daughters. She confessed to 3 daughters, her mother, and George, but not the other 2 daughters.
Right.
I don't know if I believe her. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, we don't believe her.
Rhonda Martin faced trial starting June 4th, 1956. At the time, it was Alabama's largest mass murder, and the DA was going for the death penalty.
Oh.
Still, the media felt it an imperative detail to constantly list Rhonda's weight and plump frame.
God.
I just want to side note that those 2 things are not related, and we don't need to know how much Rhonda weighs in every single article.
Correct.
It was listed repeatedly.
What?
I know, it's so annoying to me. First off, nobody needs to know that. She's already been caught, so we don't need to know how much she weighs now. You got her. That's the only reason you would list it. And second, I never see somebody being like, well, sometimes they do if they're real tiny. Remember, 90 pounds of nitro.
Yep.
So no mid-sized people are getting any
No, they're
stats.
not.
Yeah. Anyway, the state already had the history of putting another female poisoner to death. So there was not a lot of hope for Rhonda playing up the female angle here, as we've seen happen. Although Rhonda was indicted for the murder of her second husband, George, her mother, Mary, and her daughters, Ellen, Carolyn, and Emma Jean, she was not indicted for her other 2 children's death at any point because she did not confess to those. I don't know. I feel like you could have proved it if you tried.
But maybe they were like,
maybe they thought
this
is enough.
Yeah.
We don't want her getting out on a technicality. Additionally, she was also charged for the attempted murder in Ronald's case because she tried to kill her stepson/husband. Even with all this, the prosecution only proceeded with Claude Martin's case to start, which we see them do a lot when there's these serial killers. They usually go with the strongest case and see what they can do. Her trial only lasted 1 day. In the case of Claude, Rhonda had admitted to putting the arsenic in his drink a time or 2. She actually said maybe 3 or 4 times.
Whoa.
She said it like, well, it might not have been me because I only did it 3 times. So he could have been getting his arsenic elsewhere.
Oh, girl. She's special.
The DA could show where and when Rhonda purchased the ant poisoning. And the timing of being added as a beneficiary in Claude's life insurance was listed as the motive. But in most cases, Rhonda got barely enough to even cover the funeral, which shows you that was really not her motive.
Oh, God. That's worse to me.
Yeah, it is. I know. It feels the same to me. It's got to be one of the other motives. Either she enjoyed watching them suffer like Jolly Jane, or there was some sort of weird need that was fulfilled by being the caregiver and being in control and
power and all that.
Yeah. Rhonda could not afford her own attorney. Her court-appointed lawyer tried to fight for her life with an insanity plea. Mr. Cameron had an expert testify that Rhonda suffered from schizophrenia. I don't believe that would be the correct diagnosis today, but it didn't matter because the judge dismissed this notion to the jury on more than one instance.
Oh, shit.
Which you can't really do. Because of this, Mr. Cameron tried for a mistrial, saying that the judge is trying to sway the jurors, and the motion was denied. The jury sat for 8 hours of testimony, deliberated for 3, and returned a verdict of guilty for the first-degree murder of Claude Martin, which meant the death penalty. The following day, Rhonda was sentenced to death by electrocution on Friday the 13th.
Whoa!
The following month. That was, of course, appealed. Those first dates always change.
Yeah.
And the date moved several times. After her death sentence, which came rapidly, the papers went quiet. There were a few mentions of her here and there, like when she volunteered to make new curtains for the prison chapel while she waited for her appeal.
Okay.
She was listed as the same weight. So if you were wondering, she has not lost any weight in prison.
Okay, because I was really tracking that in detail.
I wasn't thinking about the victims or her poor children or
Right.
how Ronald was recovering. I was
No,
like,
it's like,
gosh, I wonder
what's that
if
number on
she
the scale?
lost or gained weight while she was in
Yeah.
prison. That's so important to me. That's sarcasm if it didn't come through. And she was listed as cooperative. Yeah. Well, yeah, she doesn't have any arsenic handy. Rhonda's appeal happened in March of 1957, and the ruling was to uphold Rhonda's sentence.
Yeah.
She was believed to be competent to stand trial, and she had confessed. Easy peasy. Rhonda's legal team took it to the Supreme Court, and they said, nah.
Get a life.
Like, we got their stuff to do.
Yeah, like this
Sorry.
is not a good one for them.
Days before her final execution date was set in October, Rhonda tried one more time to save her own life in a clemency hearing, but the governor denied her appeal hours before she was scheduled to be put to death. Very likely while she was eating her last meal of a hamburger, mashed potatoes, coffee, and a cinnamon roll.
Do they really get you whatever you want?
I mean, they must, right? But I wonder about the quality.
But what would be, that's what I was, like, we were talking about this the other day of like, what would be your last meal? Because first of all, I don't think I would be able to eat because I would be too nervous. I like lose my appetite when I get stressed out. But like, then I was thinking, you could have some fine dining, but maybe I just want jalapeno pizza, like a real comfort meal.
Yeah, I don't know.
What would you eat?
You might also reach a point where where there's a freedom to it because you know what's going to happen, and
right, you like push past that stress.
I don't know. I can't imagine the feelings. I'm sure it's all over the map.
Would you have dip? Oh, that would be a good
dip?
one too.
No.
Why?
Dip?
It's a great comfort meal.
I'm willing to bet, knowing me, I would not be hungry.
Yeah.
I'd be nervous.
Sprinkles in a cup.
Okay, maybe sprinkles.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
With chocolate and vanilla swirl. Anyway, that's what she had for her last meal. I think there have to be articles and lists of people's last meals, and they're always fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Just what you go for. And I always wonder, does it, like, because you want a certain kind, you know what I mean? You want that hamburger from,
right,
like the one you used to make, or
right,
from that restaurant. It's like, this is just somebody in a prison kitchen. Is it the same?
Unless they bring it in. Like, what if you want really good sushi?
But how can they don't have DoorDash? How are they getting it? Do you think Alabama in the 50s had a lot of good sushi places? I don't know. Like, how are they getting it there? Like, we're gonna fly it in.
Maybe someone's job is like the intern.
Slappy's like, I got it.
Has to go out and get their meal. Anyways,
I don't know. Somebody should do research on that. So on October 11th, 1957, Rhonda walked to the electric chair hugging her Bible.
The Green Mile.
She denied stating any last words for the record and instead calmly recited scripture to herself, and tears started to fall down her face.
Well, you did it to yourself. Nobody feels bad for you.
I always feel empathy for this moment. Feel bad for how they got here. I know it's the worst, but I feel bad. Like, she didn't start out life being like, oh, this is how it goes.
Yeah.
Where did it go wrong, Rhonda? Shortly after midnight, Rhonda prepared to face her sentence, but had just a few seconds of a reprieve when they flipped the switches and it didn't work.
Oh,
Nothing came on.
No, come on, y'all.
Adjustments were made, and then a second attempt was completed, this time connecting to the electricity, and she was pronounced dead at 12:16 a.m.
Again, crazy time.
They do it at the weirdest times.
This is so bizarre.
They do it when it's dark out, it seems.
What, wasn't there like a 6:30 a.m. one once?
Yeah, it was at 5 a.m. It's like they don't do it when the sun's up.
Weird, just weird.
As prison officials were moving the body, a note fell out of the Bible Rhonda had been clutching. In it, the note asked that her brain be donated to science in an attempt to understand why she did what she did.
Oh.
The note read, "At my death, whether it be a natural death or otherwise," because she wrote this while she was still in the appeal process, "I want my body to be given to some scientific institution to be used as they see fit, but especially to see if someone can find out why I committed the crimes I have committed. I can't understand it, for I had no reason whatsoever. There's definitely something wrong. Can't someone find it and save someone else the agony I have been through?"
Maybe it is some schizophrenia, because I know they have some moments of like lucidity and like, I'm getting worse. Like, I don't know what to do. And like, then maybe not schizophrenia, but like there are in some sicknesses, there's that like moments of like fuck, like I'm not well, and then that you go back into the unwell
Wait,
state.
because she's an intelligent person. She has to recognize that, hey, I'm doing this and none of the other moms are doing this.
Mm.
She has to know that there's something different. But what's interesting to me about the note is it's to save someone else the agony I have been through. Right? Not to
Yeah.
save other victims. So
That's a
there's
good point.
still
Still a
no
sociopath.
empathy. Yeah, there's still no empathy there. But I mean, if you do think about it, if she is living this existence where she knows what she's doing is wrong, which, I mean, they proved that she was competent to stand trial. She knows it's wrong and she can't
Yeah.
stop herself. That has to be a weird feeling.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's technically remorse. And also, the other thing I thought is it could have been one final play
Oh.
to make her victims feel a certain way. Or maybe she really felt that way. I don't know. That's the problem with these cases. You know, we only have what's written down in text, and
Yeah.
I'm not a psychological genius, so we don't know what her motive was, or if she was trying to manipulate from beyond the grave, or if she really felt remorse, or if she just knew something was
Wow.
wrong and couldn't stop herself. I don't know how you feel about that request, if you think it was valid, but it was ignored by Rhonda's family.
Yeah.
And she was buried very shortly after her execution with a very small graveside service, only 3 people.
Yeah. Where was she buried with the rest of her family? That makes me
That's a
feel
good question.
uncomfortable.
I hope not.
I really hope not.
And that's it.
God.
Ronald survived. I tried to find something on his full recovery. He lived until, I think, 1999.
Wow.
Yeah, he lived a very long life. So we know he survived and
Okay.
hopefully thrived, but I don't know if he ever made a full physical comeback.
Whew.
And she never admitted to 2 of the deaths, which I think is so
Right.
weird. I mean,
It is
the
bizarre.
odds are it was her.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, but I mean, obviously something else could have happened, but we've talked about that more in like the 1500s, 1600s, where the infant mortality rate was so high. I don't know why they do that. I always feel like they think it will somehow make them look better, but
Right.
it's over.
No.
Like,
Yeah,
game
it
over.
is over, and that's assumed at this point.
As soon as you kill one of your children, it's like, okay, well,
Yeah.
it's kind of an all or
Jesus.
nothing kind of deal here. Like,
Exactly. It's binary.
it's not going to make you feel anybody look at you differently if
No.
there were 2 that
Like,
survived.
oh, spared 2 out of the 5.
Yeah. So I have to think she must have got enjoyment out of the process and the sympathy and the
Yes.
attention. That's what this
Yes.
one feels like.
Yeah, this was not financial gain, clearly. It was, I think, probably a little bit of power, too, of, like, being that caregiver and, like, controlling what happens to them.
Yeah. And she spread them out quite a
Right.
bit. And it seemed that as she got to her eldest daughter and her mother, she would stretch out the illnesses.
That's just sad.
Because theories are that she knew she was running out of people, essentially.
Oh, that's such a disturbing thought.
Isn't that a gross thought?
Wow. I hate it.
And then Claude went a little faster because I'm willing to bet she had her eyes on Ronald since they started dating almost immediately.
Stop.
Well, I'm sorry.
Oh.
I'd like to know how that happened because Ronald still had not, obviously, this is not Ronald's fault, the poisoning part, but Ronald married her.
I know.
She had 2 husbands who survived, who divorced, and there was the one in between. So there was George who died,
right?
and then there was a third one she divorced. They were only married a few months, and he said that basically they got married while he was very drunk, and he kind of was like, "Uh-oh, I don't know if that's what I wanted to do." And I think they were only married for a few months when he said he just felt like he had to get out, and he did. Ronald's sister said that Ronald was kept kind of under the influence of a substance, not just her manipulation, but of a substance at times. So I don't know what that means. I don't know how intense that was. Like, could she really have drugged him so much that he went along with it and then she kept him drugged? Or did he
That's wild.
want to marry her at some point and then she started poisoning him and then he kind of was dependent on her, right? That's really, you can see it after they get married. You can see that she instantly made him dependent on her by becoming sick and she was taking such good care of him.
Yeah.
But he still married her. How did that happen?
I don't know, man.
I don't like the charm that these women
always
hold.
Ugh. God, it's so
Yeah.
disturbing. That is definitely the 2%.
Yeah, the daughters were not pleased.
No,
That's a rough transition to make.
that's a real rough transition.
Stepmother to
Be like, what
sister-in-law.
the fuck are you doing, brother?
Not great.
Good Lord.
Well, anyway, yeah, he lived a long life, so I hope he recovered.
In a lot of ways.
Yeah, and those 5 little girls,
Yeah. Ugh.
very sad.
Evil.
And Mary Frances and George, all of her victims, very sad situation. But that is Rhonda Belle, the Little Miss Arsenic, I believe they called her,
Little Miss Arsenic. That's pretty good.
which makes me want to watch Little Miss Sunshine. And also the Redheaded Hellcat. Although, again, all these women look brunette in these black and white photos. So there you go. What are your last words?
I don't even know. I can't even. It's like, how can you clue people in on this? Well, first of all, don't marry your stepchildren or step-parents.
Yeah, it's a general rule, I think.
Let's not.
I mean, maybe there's some people it worked out
No.
for, you know, but
No.
I think generally that
No,
should
we're
be
not doing
avoided.
it. It's a no.
It's going to be a no for me. But, you know, if you're not going to murder them shortly after,
No.
still no.
Period.
I'm sorry. Even if you love them dearly, nope.
No.
Game over.
No.
Yeah, that's not right.
So let's start with that big rule.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know, these cases are all about patterns. And the investigators figured it out, but
Took a long time.
it took a long time, and I just, you know that other people who are close-ish to her saw her children dying like that. Like, pay attention to patterns, listen to your gut, and speak up.
One of the big things is she would have different doctors sign the death certificate. And this is at a time before.
Yes.
I hope now everything is on a computer and some AI robot will send an alert that's like, whoops.
Yeah.
This is the second
That's
one.
what AI should be used for.
Yeah, and that would alert people to any kind of those patterns. But at the time, it's all spread out over different places and different towns, and people don't make the connections. And then, I mean, maybe George started making the connections.
Fuck.
And then he was gone.
It's brutal, but patterns matter.
Yeah. Anything else?
That's it. No,
Patterns matter.
No step stuff, and patterns matter.
I would throw it like just no nephews or nieces either.
Oh my God,
Throw
no.
back to Candy.
Oh, go listen to that episode. What's her full name? Candace something or
Mossler.
other. Mossler.
Yeah. Let's just avoid marrying our family members
Yeah.
as much as we can.
Yeah.
You know? Give it your best shot.
Did you ever watch Lost?
No.
Okay.
Why do they marry all their family members?
No. Two of the people are like step brother and sister, and there's stuff happens.
Physical stuff?
Yeah.
We're done here. All right.
I'm just saying. Another period, no.
That's what I'm saying.
Period.
Maybe there are exceptions that you would say are okay.
There's
Maybe
not.
if you're stuck on an island.
No, because she ended up going with somebody else anyways, appropriately. But they had that history of like having those feelings for each other, which made it complicated.
Stepbrother and stepsister is different than step-parent and stepsister.
Agreed.
What if your parents got married and you were both in your 20s and you knew each other from a different way, or you like that's different. You didn't grow up as brother and sister.
But you just have to use your brain and say no.
But you didn't grow up as brother and sister. I don't know. Okay. I'm just saying. Whatever. But don't marry your child. Thanks.
Yeah, don't do that.
This is making me very uncomfortable.
All right. Wrap it up.
Everybody do what they want, but please don't hurt each other. Okay. And who should listen?
Step children.
Don't marry your parents.
Step parents.
Don't marry your kids.
Step siblings. Megan says it's okay.
I'm just saying, I don't know.
No, it's definitely a different level. I
could be presented a case.
I give
where I'm
you
like,
that. It's a different level. People who watch Lost, doctors, police, investigators, family members, gravediggers. Wow, I've really been given gravediggers.
I hope the Gravediggers Association has started listening, because we have been giving you nothing but
I
shout outs.
can't
If you'd like to
stop.
sponsor an episode, Alana is fascinated
Yes.
with your work and thinks that you drive a tractor over a grave until it collapses. So, also, garbage delivery men, we want to hear from you. How's it going? Do people love getting other people's trash? It's another man's treasure, you know? That's probably their motto.
Be.
Yeah, this could be your treasure. Today's the day. I hope you win the garbage lottery.
Okay, cut me off.
Anything else?
That's it.
All right, well, you can find us on all the platforms at
Tea Time Crimes.
You can email us at
teatimecrimes@gmail.com.
Please rate, review, like, subscribe, send us recommendations for teas and crimes. And thank you so much for listening. We'll be back soon. Bye-bye.
Bye. Don't kiss your stepdad.
What if it's on the cheek?
No.
What? You can't even kiss on the
Okay,
cheek?
fine, but don't get carried away.